If we look at our world as it is today, we need healing, we need to have faith, we need to have hope, we need to share with others, and we need to most of all come together. And how do we come together when we're so broken and being told to stay apart? I'm Steve Fartland, and today we're going to talk about a journey I never thought about, I didn't plan to take, but one that profoundly changed my life. And it began really in 1991. We were in New Jersey on the Jersey Shore, and I was there with my wife and my two children. I was building sandcastles with a little man that believed I was everything, and I looked at him as a challenge of a lifetime. I pretty much continued on, and then my son said, "Hey Dad, let's go swimming." And I looked around and it was pretty calm, the tide was out, and there was a giant sandbar, and that's kind of where the ocean is on its outward motion, and a big open area that would normally be underwater was available, and it was 6 inches deep. I figured there could be no harm. We kept walking and talking, and I'm holding his hand, and he's looking around, and we take one more step, and we no longer were on a sandbar. We were swept into a riptide, and it would be like falling into the Colorado River in the spring. It was that powerful, and I cried out, "God, save us. Don't take my son, Lord." I could sense my life was in peril. There I was in the Atlantic Ocean, and there's my son, and I push him back out of the water, and next wave came and took us back under, and there were no people, and I yelled and there was no one there. And another wave came and pushed us closer to the beach, and a final wave pushed us onto the shore, and we landed sanded and tumbling in the suds of the wave. And my son says, "Boy, Dad, you're tougher than the ocean." And I said, no, I'm not bigger than the ocean." And he said, "Who's bigger than the ocean, Dad?" I said, "Well, God's bigger than the ocean." And he said, "Yep. And you're bigger than God, huh, Dad?" That's when I realized I didn't want to be God. I didn't want to be bigger than God. I wanted to be a father, good husband to my wife, and a good friend, and a good businessman, and the things that turn out to be the more important things in life. For the next 30 years in business, that journey took many forms, and many people came on board that ship. Many people left and never to return, and some people came and shared their soul with us, and God took them. We had to accept those losses. Those were some brutal times. We lost some really good friends along our journey. And so I started to learn that the journey God had put me on was one that I couldn't imagine, and the treasure would come and the treasure would go, and we owned buildings, and there were times when we had no money, and there was no money to buy a building that we had set a closing date on. And I was kind of ready to lock it up. The snow was blowing, and a guy walked in and looked at chairs, and then he looked at tables and booths and asked if he could buy these things. I said, "Well, sure, how many do you need?" I figured he wanted 4 or 5 chairs. Well, he wanted 100 chairs, and he wanted 20 booths. And when he was done, the order was over $75,000. And I walked out of there that day so blown away, and then more things like that would happen. I still don't have the whole vision of it, but I know one thing, that when it was built from pieces, a lot of pieces, broken parts, whole parts, and it kind of resembles the world we're in right now, all scrambled and jumbled and piled up, but without any real shape or form. And it seems to me, if you're willing to reach out to someone you know or you don't know, you're willing to be a splint to that person. You can't fix their situation any more than they can fix yours, but you can be a splint, and they can be a splint, and they can help, and they can help. And if we take it from a standpoint of how can we come together, not help ourselves, because if I only help me, what does that really help? Go help your brother, go help your sister, go help the person that has nobody. And when you help them, you help everyone. Reach into that social network that we all have. It's abundant now, We got Facebooks and share times and tweeters, and we got more things that we can socialize with. All we have to now to do it with is time. Take that time, reach out to people, and share love with them. Share a vision of victory. Find something victorious in this brokenness. There's 7.5 billion people in the world. And if everybody started sharing a victory moment, a moment of someone rising to the occasion, look at the dialogue that would happen now versus this has happened, that's happened, this many people dead. If you watch the news, it's a body count. It's a tragedy that anyone had to die. What is victory? Why these chairs? Why this art? Why this time? I don't have all the answers. I know that victory stands and represents the spirit in which the human endeavor exceeds the problem and finds a solution. So there is a solution for the problem that we're facing. And it is not separating from one another and pointing out how the strong man stumbled. It's coming together. It's bringing things together. It is embracing your faith. If you don't have a faith, embrace what makes you strong. The world is changing every day. You can change with it, and we can change the direction of the world. It is up to us to change the world. One step, one person at a time. Take a look around you. Decide what you can change to make it a better world, and let's change it. Victory is one way to do that. It represents the victory that we all want, broken pieces coming together to be whole and to make this a better place for our children and our children's children and the future generations of this planet. Together, we can rise to victory.